Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry, I got a little bit of a high exposure over here, low exposure right here, I guess because of the dark colors, which is fine. Maybe I can AFI lock it, but then you get this like horrible flood of light. So here we go. I'm going to keep it this way, so hopefully we can keep some of the detail of what's going on right in front of me. Today I'm going to be doing a review of this beautiful guy right here, the Leatherman Free P2. All right, I don't have a ton to say about this, so it's probably going to be a quicker review than my knife reviews and stuff like that, but here we go. Today I got a pocket check for you. Front left pocket today, Wilhelm leather wallet. Let's see, front left pocket, I definitely got some chapstick for today. That's going to go into my hoodie pocket for now. Got the Pena X Series Moolah. I uploaded a short today, so that way you guys can really see the beautiful carbon fiber from Fat Carbon. On back right pocket, I had my car keys, but those are inside right now. And then back left pocket, I have bandana, green, and my keys. And I am sporting something pretty special on the hip today. It's a sheath that I've had. You guys seen it before. But what is inside of it is actually pretty special. It's going to be a quick review, but here's your introduction to this. This is called the CRKT Septimum, or Septum. It says it right here, Septimo, which means 7 in I think Greek. So there we go. This is a Valdez design. Now I think his name is Jerry Valdez. Seems to be a pretty cool dude. CRKT teamed up with him. He is a former military personnel person, and he designed this whenever he was in a helicopter accident, and he needed some quick escape, and he didn't have the tools that he needed in order to escape. So I couldn't tell you the full story, but I'll come more at you guys with that one. But this is the Septimo. It comes with a little bit of a adjustable wrench on the back end. So ultimately, I guess the questions that I'm going to answer about this are, is it a gimmick or is it useful? Okay, but anyways, here's y'all's preview to that. The CRKT Septum. This is a loaner, so I'm not going to keep it for too long, and I'm definitely not going to abuse it because it's not mine to abuse. A friend of mine just said, hey, you're doing reviews and stuff, you want to try this out? I said, sure, I'd love to, so that way I can get some content on it out there. So that was an introduction. Let's get into the Leatherman Free P2. So I've had this for about a year now. I got it whenever I was working at Tech as a groundskeeper, and then I got a promotion to become, after I got my CDL, a projects crew member. So that's just a lot of miscellaneous stuff. Basically, it's just a whole lot of excavation, and I needed a multi-tool. I had a little blue one that my uncle got me from a Watermaster, and that one seemed to do fine, but between that multi-tool and between my pair of pliers, I needed something a little bit more. So that's why I ended up settling on the Free P2. I wanted the P4, but it was just too much money at the time. So I got the P2 with the serrated blade. That's the first thing I want to talk about, guys. The blade on this thing is absolute garbage. They use that 420 stainless steel. Serration still cut pretty good, but the edge part of this blade, not so good. It is a hollow grind, so it gets pretty thin behind the edge, but it doesn't maintain it forever. So you see I'm literally running my fingers over it, and it's not that good. But I will say the one-hand feature of this thing to get to the pliers, there was a bit of a learning curve, but now that I've got it, it's super easy. Last week I carried this with the front pocket only, and in the front pocket only because I really wanted to test out what it was like carrying that. And honestly, I think I liked it better than carrying it in the sheath, which is totally cool. I mean, you never really know something unless you try it. I've always kept the pocket clip on because I never wanted to lose it. So whenever I put it in the sheath that it comes with, I kind of make sure that the clip is inside, because otherwise you go to close it and the sheet and that's out, The button pops off easier because there's that constant pressure from the clip, so it pops off way easier. I will say the sheath that it comes with, not a huge fan of it because of the locked in. You know, you're locked in. You can't just pull it out, like pull off the sheath and put it in the work truck or anything like that. So, you know, you had to undo the belt, take it off, and then put it in the truck, and then whenever you needed it back. When we were doing a lot of excavating, there were sometimes there'd be a lot of mud, and all I'd need was a sharpshooter or a shovel, so I wouldn't try and get my tools all muddy or anything like that. But this one comes with a pair of scissors, and I think the Free P4 does not have the scissors. I think it has 2 blades. Let's see. Besides the pliers and the wire cutters, let's go with the needle nose pliers first. The needle nose pliers, I probably use the most, but they're not my favorite. Usually whenever I'm needing a pair of pliers, I'm needing it for a bolt or a nut that I need to hold on to, and this is not a great comfort, especially for my small hands. If you have large hands, I'm pretty sure this is like 5 times more wieldy, but with a guy with small hands, I prefer my regular CT pliers because it has that slip joint action to where you can make it wider if you needed to. If you're trying to bolt a 3/4 inch head or something like that, it was easier to bear down and use your impact or whatever. This, not so much, but the pliers did work whenever I needed to like pick up trash, whenever I needed to pick up like if we had to torch something, a piece of hot metal. I definitely did use the pliers, and the wire cutters was probably the most used feature out of everything, besides the scissors, I think. So yeah, I really like the wire cutters. We use those a lot, especially on the projects team. You know, there's a lot of we'd help the electricians run wire. There's a lot of times where we had to cut our own wire or baling wire for tying up fences and stuff like that. These came in handy. And then, like I said, the next most used item on this was probably the scissors. And this is just for threads. I never really knew how much I needed a pair of scissors on me, or in my vicinity. But there those go. After that, I would say I used the screwdrivers next most. And Phillips, for actual Phillips heads, it actually does come in handy. Even around the house, I'd go pick this up, and I could do a lot of the hanging of pictures and stuff like that, getting into studs. I could do that with this, or I could just go find our regular screwdriver set and stuff like that. But a lot of the household tasks that I've been doing, I've used this. Okay, I just remembered something whenever I use this, so I'll get into that here in a second after I make this point. And I use this a lot for scraping off tags. Like there's a lot of times on campus, students slap tags or slap stickers on stop signs and poles and stuff. So I did use this. I will say it works, but it would be better if it was a little wider as a scraper, since this is technically the large flathead device. It didn't really suffice it to say it didn't really work as a great scraper. It worked, but next on these, I will say I never used any of this crap. Didn't use a file, didn't use the awl, didn't use the can opener. No, I never used any of this stuff. So I can't really speak to these tools. I don't know the quality of them, but honestly, since if I never needed them, then I did try the wire stripper that's on this piece right here, and honestly, it was kind of hot garbage. I did try that out, and I didn't like it. I did use the bottle opener a few times, and it works really well as a bottle opener. I like it on the Phillips head side. So there's a crimper right here as well. This is a crimp set, so that way you can get your copper bullets or whatever you need to crimp. I use that several times, but I use it for the flags and our halyards and stuff like that to crimp the copper wire or to crimp the copper bullet, the small aluminum bullet. Sometimes it's aluminum, sometimes it's copper. And I'd crimp it so that way you could hold the halyard in place. So that worked out really well. I really liked it for that. Now, where did I use this the most? Whenever I have a part-time job, there's a gentleman at work. He has his own landscaping company. And in the months of, October, November and December, we start hanging up Christmas lights. And if he's got a whole new house that we're gonna splice or something like that, this thing rocked, man. I loved having this thing. This is all I needed to help splice new lines or add outlets or add male female ends for your outlets and stuff for the electricity and stuff. Putting in a new splice, like you have to splice a whole new bulb and stuff. That was awesome. This thing really worked for that. I love this Leatherman because of that. Now, looking back on hindsight, I probably think I should have gone with the Leatherman Charge, the TTI one, because it's got titanium in it, and I think it's really cool. It's a really cool aesthetic, but also because it has like a S30V blade, which is a lot more functional than the 420 stainless steel that they use for this one. And I think the best part about this is the one-hand opening feature. I really like it. I really needed it. Something that I could be working with this hand, my left hand. Usually this is riding in my hip, my right hip, or my right front pocket, or my right back pocket. I pull it out. There I can pull out whatever I needed to. Use the pliers. I use it a lot for the halyards to get inside of the internal pull out some of the halyard, and then I can work on it. Or I'm here, I'm holding up like let's say it's a sign that I needed a Phillips head, so I'd pull this out, and then I'd just come straight here, get this, holding the sign still, pull out my Phillips, put it in, lock it away, and then it's gone. Like, I really love the one-hand feature on this. Trying to see what else. It's very well made, and I will say that if I still worked at a metal fabrication shop, this would not work because of the magnets. It's held like this. The tension on that is all held together with magnets. You'll listen, like what's sucking it in is not gravity. It's a little bit of gravity, but mostly it's the magnets holding it together. And it works very well if you're an outdoors person, or you're I wouldn't even say an electrician, because I can't speak for electricians or anything like that, but the magnets will get in the way. Sometimes if you're a bonus would be, I guess, sometimes whenever we're working on a nut or a bolt or screwing something in, and I had this in the vicinity, sometimes it would catch it. That was pretty cool. Instead of looking for the screw on the ground, and you got grass over here, gravel over here, you can't find it. Sometimes it would catch it, and that was pretty cool. But there were a couple of times where we'd help one of the fabricators at Tech who makes the bike racks and stuff like that, or we'd be in the assembling benches, the wooden benches that we fabricate on campus. We'd go into our welding shop, and I'd take this out to use it, and man, it would get littered with all the metal filings and shavings and all the beads from welding and stuff like that. It was a magnet. It was a bead magnet, and that's very unfortunate. So I guess I wouldn't really recommend this for working in a metal fabrication shop, or I don't know if magnets interfere with your job. I wouldn't use this, especially if you work on electronics and you couldn't set this on whatever piece of technology you're working on. But other than that, I like it. Does it have my full endorsement? Yes, but I think I would, going back a year and a half ago, I should have gone with the Charge TTI or the Leatherman Wave. I also did consider the OHT, the one-hand tool. That one's more geared for emergency personnel, because that one has it's made for oxygen tankers. It's made for people who are in the service and stuff like that. So I guess that's kind of why I didn't get it. I could have gone with the SOG Power Pint. I think I'm thinking about trying that one out. But other than that, that is my review of the Leatherman Free P2. This is my first and only Leatherman. I've handled a couple of others. Friends let me borrow theirs whenever I'm working for the day or something like that. And I really like the construction, and I like the build. But for me, this still works. This is still a good option. This is still a great EDC option, especially since I work a lot outdoors. I work a lot with machines. The magnets don't really interfere with a lot of that. And pretty much a lot of the tasks that I've needed, this has come in handy, especially for around the house. This is a great EDC item for around the house, especially if you got small projects, or let's say your wife or your significant other is like, hey, it's time to do some spring cleaning. Let's tend to some of the stuff around here. Let's decorate and stuff like that. This is a pretty cool tool to have. And mostly, this thing shined whenever I was hanging up Christmas lights, and I was doing a lot of the technical work on those. That really helped out, and I really liked it. So overall, let's talk about it. For an EDC, I'd give it, like, I don't usually do a rating or a scale or anything like that, but I'd give this, like a B, not a B minus, not a B plus, but a B. It did the job. It works. I think a non-serrated, upgraded steel would have set it off. I probably wouldn't even think. I'd probably be raving about it if that steel was a little bit better, because there was one time I tried, we were doing a little bit of landscape work, and we were putting down some weed mat, and I tried cutting into the weed mat. I had just sharpened it and honed this up, and I went to go try and cut inside of the weed mat, and it cut the first few cuts perfectly, and then I went back to go do the other side of the same weed mat. Nothing. It just lost its. I was like, forget this. Pulled out my Chavez 229 all the way through. Got the Chavez 229 dirty and muddy, and nobody really likes that. But I like to use my knives in those terms. I kind of do. It's fun to pull them out and use them and clean them up later. So I guess the only size comparison that I can really put this up to right now, I guess I could have put it up to a standard set of pliers, but I'll just put it up against the Moolah. This is closed. Here's a Moolah. Sorry. There you go. And then I'll open it up. The Moolah is still longer, and that's butt to butt, and pretty much pivot to pivot. Those are pretty much the only size comparisons I have, besides the Septimo. So here's the Septimo. The Septimo is very much high speed, low drag. It is a tactical looking thing. But yeah, so here is y'all's introduction to this CRKT Septimo. So far, I can kind of give you I used it a little bit today. We were running through our mowers, and some of the grease certs fell off, and so I wanted to try to use the adjustable wrench. And honestly, I think this thing is made more for like those oxygen tanks and stuff. I don't see it working too well submerged. I don't see it working too well, like submerged in water. I don't see it working too well for your typical like unscrewing of things. Like, you couldn't use this to unscrew certain bolts and nuts, because it is made out of aluminum, so you're very limited. You don't want to ruin it. You don't want to mess it up by like over torquing on stainless steel and messing up your teeth here, because I think these would be the first to go. Yeah, so I think this you're gonna have to have very light use on these. Like, it can't be used to break bolts loose or anything like that. But yeah, let's see. The blade is 8CR13 MOV. Not impressive, but the bottle opener, I'll try that out a couple of times. And then it also has this is kind of cool. It's got its own little bit. It's not a 1/4 inch, I don't think. Maybe it is, but it's got a little Phillips, and it's got a little flathead. So, and that goes into a little compartment right here. So yeah, it's got a kind of semi-deep pocket carry clip, but I'm using it in my sheath right now because I don't feel comfortable rocking it in the pocket and scraping up the pocket clip. So this rides in here like so. You can barely see it, so I'll refocus. You're gonna get a little bit of blinding colors, but there you go. You can kind of see it better like that. I just did the AE lock on the phone. But anyways, yeah guys, so that's what I have for you today. The Leatherman Free P2 review, and then the upcoming CRKT Septimo. I'll probably bang out that review end of the week, beginning of next week or so, I think I'll be able to get a good firm grasp of what it's capable of in that short time frame. And I don't want to abuse it. So thank you for letting me use this, my friend Daniel. It helps out with the channel because, shoot, man, I can. There's a lot of stuff out there to review and that hasn't been reviewed. But anyways, like I said, guys, let me know what you want. I'm gonna try and look into getting a Leatherman OHT. Kind of see, maybe that's next in the pipeline. I can't make any promises at this current juncture, but I'll try and keep getting some new stuff to review and show you guys. All right, guys, thank you. Bye-bye. God bless you.